Hey guys, my name is Kenton Park, and today I'd like to talk to you about visual art. Now, it's not my strongest element of art, but I am an artistic person, and I like psychology, and then I study a lot how the visual sense, or how senses in general affect our psychology, which include the visual. So, today, I got a little story to tell. I work at Chick-fil-A, and today, or last night, when I got off work, or when we closed, a crew came in to replace our furniture. And so this morning we came in and we had a whole bunch of new furniture, which included a condiment bar. And so old condiment bar, old system, new condiment bar, different layout. So had to redo the condiments. And there's no really blueprint. So I got to be master builder and create my own system because everything is awesome. So amongst creating the system, like kind of whatever I laid it out, that would kind of become the standard. So that was a pretty cool experience, but I got to be creative and artsy with it, but also understand that I was working for somebody else, so it wasn't about just whatever I was feeling. I had to think of it in a practical way, every bit as much of an artistic way, which is where I was glad that I got to unite the two together. That's a problem that I think often artistic people struggle with, and they think that art is just all raw emotion and what you feel, and therefore when they get a teacher who tries teaching them laws and rules about art, they're like, but I just want to do what I feel and not abide by all these rules. But I think true art is actually not just straight raw emotion, but the understanding of the rules and the regulations and how they affect our psychology and why we do the things we do, and therefore using those things to enhance our artistic quality. And so I think art is actually not just raw emotion, but rather the combination of raw emotion and logical thought. So when laying this out, my first thought was practicality. We've got customers who have been coming to the store for years, and so the condiments needed to resemble as much as possible what the customers were familiar with. Also, for us employees who have been stocking it for years, need to have a resemblance of, oh, this sauce or this condiment goes here, salt goes here, pepper goes here. So I wouldn't want to have, if salt was over here, I wouldn't want to all of a sudden have salt be over here. That would just throw off everybody's sense of familiarity. So rule number one was be familiar. Rule number two was supply and demand. So I'll show a picture here of what we had. The top shelf you can see is pretty much exactly what it used to be at my particular store. But then everything else had to change because of different number of slots and stuff like that. But you'll notice here, bottom middle, and sides on the middle row, you've got this blue and white package, which is our mayo. That is probably our most used condiment other than ketchup, which has its own bin, which isn't even included in this picture. So because it's the most used, it got 3 different slots. Our second most used condiment would be this red stuff here, which is our hot sauce. And so because it's second most used, it got 2 slots. The mustard, the yellow package in between the mayo and hot sauce, is not as much used, but we've got the extra slots, so it still got 2 slots also. This package in the very middle row, middle column, is our honey. And for some reason that is probably our least used condiment. So it just got 1 small slot. So practicality number 1 is familiarity. Practicality number 2 is supply and demand. What do we use the most of? Practicality number 3 was reachability. If somebody's coming over to the condiment bar from the left side and they're reaching for something that's all the way on the right side, then that's extra distance they have to reach. Whereas if there is another slot of it right here in front of them, then they can just grab it right here. Much easier for them. And so that's why you've got stuff like the hot sauce and the mayo on both sides. And then everything else is kind of in the middle where you don't have to reach all the way across it. So that was practicality number 3. The fourth thing, which is where we're starting to get into the artistic side of it, is visual appeal. You'll notice that for the most part this is very symmetrical. You've got these condiments on the left side and these condiments on the right side, they match, and then as you get to the middle you got the mustard and these other 2 more random things, and then in the very middle you've got this one thing. So starts in the middle and branches out the same on either side, and that is for visual ease. So somebody can just look at it and just quickly process where everything is, because their brain only has to record one side of it. And then they realize the pattern of it on the other side, and the brain just flips it. The brain does this kind of stuff all the time. It loves doing this kind of stuff. So because of that pattern, it's easy for them, and they quickly take it all in. Because they quickly take it in, they don't have to stand there looking around. It's like, where is this? Oh, there it is. They just look at it and boom, here it is. So that's the artistic design of that. But then as we employees go to stock it, we don't just have it in the back. We've got underneath the drawer, we pull out a drawer underneath there, and we can restock it that way. And so I've got a picture of how I laid that down also. So you'll see it's pretty similar. Like the top shelf here is mostly the exact same as the top shelf here, with the exception of these two that I accidentally switched and want to go back and fix them, but I don't know if my boss would want me doing that. So that's for ease. So the employee comes in to stock it, and rather, if they're stocking the salt, which is top right, they're not looking for it, and it's like, oh, it's top left here. So they take it and then move it all the way up here. It's just more hassle. It's easier for the brain to look, top right is empty, look down here, top right here is a stocking. Boom. But then that also has a little bit of a visual element to it also. And as when you get to this bottom shelf here, I don't need all the extra slots. In fact, it's more conservative of space to have just fewer big slots than many small slots. So you got the hot sauce, the red stuff, the yellow mustard, and then the blue and white mayo. You'll notice that pattern up on top as well. From the left on the bottom shelf, you got the hot sauce red, mustard yellow, and then mayo blue and white. Like it then flips on the other side. But then if you go beyond that, you also notice up where that mustard in the very middle is, which is yellow, you look to the left, you got a reddish sauce, which is our strawberry jelly. But then to the right of that is a purple thing, which is our grape jelly. And so you've got this consistency. You've got the red, yellow, blue. Then you've got the reddish, yellow, purple, which is kind of along the same color spectrum. And then you go up even higher on that, you see on the top shelf, you've got this pink package, which is our sweet and low sugar. And then to the right of that, you've got this yellow package, which is Splenda. And then to the right of that, you've got this, again, white and blue package, which is our wet wipes. So you've got this pattern, reddish, yellowish, bluish. And so that pattern kind of forms throughout the entire thing as a sort of motif. And that is the second artistic element. So the first artistic element is symmetry. Second artistic element is patterns and recognition. So what you've got here, you've also got here, in be it color scheme and or like products. And what those do is it makes the brain easily process everything that's going on. Here's why I'm really talking about this. I think it is a part of the artistic experience to know how these things affect our psychology. Whether it's visual art or musical art or sound art or video art, themes are a huge element. The melodic themes that you have in a song, by creating them to be recognizable easily when they're played at the beginning and the end of the song, it wraps the entire song up. It helps the brain process what the music sounds like by having a common theme in it. Also, a common theme in a film helps the brain to process what the story is all about. So, but then also knowing the practicality sides. Why do we lay things out the way they do? Why do we have this order of stuff? Maybe it's because of familiarity. We're familiar with the everyman story, so hitting these same beat patterns helps the audience process it. We're familiar with intro, verse, chorus, bridge, chorus. So writing a song in that pattern helps the brain process what's going on. Visually, having these patterns, having these layouts that are simple for the brain to process, familiar from what our culture has taught us in the past, and having patterns that repeat themselves these are things that help the brain process how to internalize the art, and makes it easier for the brain to do so. And by making it easier, makes it more pleasant. And therefore, it's good to often use this kind of element. However, times that you might not want to use it would be if you're creating something intentionally edgy. So if you're creating a song about how you don't understand where life is going anymore, you just can't comprehend the meaning of life anymore, then maybe breaking all those, like maybe start a motif and then cut it short, or things like that, will help translate translate the idea of confusion. I can't make sense of this. And what it literally does to your brain is it says, I can't make sense of this. So that's my message. When creating art, understand why you're doing what you're doing, and kind of learn patterns, learn techniques to it. Whether it's visual art, video art, scripting art, storytelling, or music, whatever it is, they all follow the same beats, really. So that's my 2 cents on art, really. Anyway, guys, thanks for watching. It's a pleasure making this video, and God bless.